Just why is it so many people are moving to Nashville? With over 100 people a day moving here for the last 2 years. Now I think that slowed down a bit, but especially with COVID, we had so many eyes on Tennessee, and there's maybe 20, 21 reasons, maybe more than that. I thought what I'd do is share with you the reasons that so many of my customers have moved here in the last couple of years. This isn't me talking from a realtor standpoint. This is asking them, what was it that attracted you to look at Tennessee as your new place to live? Some of these have to do with simply Tennessee, some of them are Nashville itself, but all of these are reasons that Tennessee is a place that so many people have looked at. From the words of my customers, I want to share with you in today's show, why are so many people looking at Tennessee? See you on the other side. Hey, welcome back. You want to know, what is it that people are coming to Nashville for? Today I'm going to tell you all the reasons that so many of my customers over the last 2 years have said, Tennessee's my spot. I asked this question, what was it that attracted you to Tennessee? And that's what we're going to talk about today. If you're new to me, I am Susan Thetford. I'm a native Nashvillian, and that's why I wanted to get the opinions of those who are not from Tennessee. I grew up here. I know exactly what this is like. I've had the best, I think, maybe of Nashville life growing up in the 70s and 80s. I wanted to hear it from a perspective of someone coming and looking at Nashville in the year 2020 and beyond for themselves and for their family. Here on this channel, that's what we talk about. All the things having to do with Nashville, Nashville life, moving to Nashville, living in Tennessee itself. And if that's something of interest to you, then you need to go ahead and subscribe to this show. We do so many different videos, take you to neighborhoods and suburbs and tell you what it's like, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Have you seen the video about the nasty critters and things that are here? You don't want to miss out on that one. Today, we're talking straight from the mouths of my customers as to why they're moving to Tennessee. Top 21 reasons, so I'm not going to go for a long explanation of each one of them. You can watch some of these other videos to get a little more in-depth information. But when I ask the question of my customers within my Facebook groups that are specifically for my newcomers to Tennessee so that they can all get to know each other, I want people to interact and get to know their neighborhoods, get to know a community of newbies to Tennessee so that they can quickly become comfortable. That is something that I can do and share, you know, some of my best drapery people and where I do dry cleaning and where I get my hair done, and so that you can stay away from it if you want to. So those are all things, but I asked these questions, and number one of the first answers was the mild weather and the wonderful 4 seasons. Now, today, we're inside. Normally, if you watch my show, I take you to a lot of places within the community so you can really see what it's like. Today is one of those days that the phrase, if you don't like the weather, just stick around for 24 hours because it's going to change. This might be our first snow of the season, which brings me to the next section. We truly have 4 seasons. People love the idea that we have 4 specific seasons, and none of them last long enough so that you're sick of them. There's a variety in our days. Today was cold, damp, rainy, gonna be cold tonight. Good time to snuggle up and watch a good series. Hey, put in the comments, what is the best TV series that you are watching? If you haven't seen 1883, oh my gosh, you are missing something amazing, so you gotta watch it. But one of the first 2 answers that I received was the very mild weather, maybe 1 or 2 snowfalls a year. And for those who are coming from Michigan or Chicago, which is where a lot of new Tennesseans are coming from, the only 1 or 2 a year is just heaven to them. And for those from California, they like the idea of having snow. So many people haven't even seen snow before. So the 1 or 2 snows, there's 4 distinct seasons, and the mild weather is something that brings many people to Tennessee. One of the next questions was, or one of the next answers was, the very low cost of living compared to many areas. Now, that's a little bit of a misnomer. If you come from San Francisco, parts of Chicago, come from New York, if you come from parts of New Jersey, if you come from some of the more expensive areas, Boston, then yeah, our cost of living for so many things, the housing, food, utilities, even healthcare, all those things, we are very low cost. Now, if you're coming from, you know, maybe not a top tier 50 city in the country, Nashville housing is not inexpensive, but as you know, and there are lots more answers in this response from people, but our housing is far more affordable than some of the upper tier cities of the country. Now, if you're in the middle of downtown Nashville, you're going to be in a high-rise condominium in all probability, and that's going to be pretty expensive. If you go, the median price point in the Davidson County area is closer to mid-500s, depending again what you want. And different suburbs have far different pricing. I'm not going into that here. You and I can have a conversation about where the best place for you is. But the relatively low cost of housing, the relatively low cost of living in some of the larger areas of the country really is bringing people to take a strong look at Tennessee. Number 4 that many people brought up was we have very low unemployment figures. We've historically have very low unemployment. If you want to work, you can find a job here in Tennessee. We are sitting at about a 3.5% unemployment now. We did not shut down during COVID. People who wanted a job could get a job. And you know, for those who are in their employment years, that low unemployment rate is a real draw. So many of the people looking at Tennessee also liked the professions that we offer here. Healthcare, publishing, and music are top 3 industries. Technology is rapidly gaining appeal. So people within all of those, even satellite industries to those, are finding no issues with finding employment here. I've had 3 nurses move here who, for one reason or another, didn't like their large city and didn't want their children raised in a large city, but they still wanted to work. We have great hospitals. We have not only can work in the hospital situation, but satellite doctor's offices. And it's not hard to find a job if you want to work, and you can find that job here in Tennessee. Another reason that one of my customers from Chicago brought up and another from San Francisco brought up is that we have relatively low crime. Now, every single city has crime. Somebody's gonna scream at me going, you've got lots of crime. We do have crime, duh. Any large city does attract, especially where you have wealth, you attract people who are looking for easy pickings. We do have crime, but we do not have it to the extent that some of the larger suburbs have. And again, I'm not making answers for it. These are the responses of my customers who've moved here from some of these larger areas. This answer came up several times. I've had 3 grandparents who have followed their grandchildren here. Their grandchildren, or their children with the grandchildren, have come to Nashville because it's a great place to raise your family. Many of those people don't even want to be in the public school system. They homeschool. But homeschooling is really embraced here. There are many good homeschool communities. And for those parents who want to homeschool their children and have them raised in a community that truly is still a community, where you can get out and ride your bike within the neighborhood and play with the neighborhood kids until dark and mom and dad rings the dinner bell. That's the way I grew up. That's the way so many of us grew up. And the sense of community that we can find here still is one of the major attractions that many families are having to move to Tennessee. So those grandparents are following their grandchildren who have moved here so that they can all live close together and keep that sense of community. I absolutely love that. Actually, we've had one family who moved here thinking their children would follow them. Both sets of children wanted to come here, but their jobs would not allow them to transfer, although they're in the airline industry. It is so strong of a feeling to want to be with family that this couple, almost crying, and I'm crying to have them leave, is leaving here and going back to their very large city where those grandchildren are. But there's nothing more important than being able to spend that time with those grandkids on a regular basis. Once they're past a certain age, we all know they don't want to spend time with us. So, but the sense of community, the reason that many people are saying they want to come here, is because it's a great place to raise a family, and this is where so many of their children are moving here. They're moving here because of a great place to raise a family, because of the great employment opportunities, because of those 4 seasons. These are all reasons that I'm hearing. Add to that we do have some good public school system areas. Now, all of them are not good. I've done many videos about that. We can check out the great schools, and some neighborhoods have better schools than others. We also have top-notch private schools. A lot of Christian and religious schools available here that many places in the country I'm finding don't have. So the opportunities for school, and as I mentioned, the homeschooling is something that is attracting many people to the Middle Tennessee area. And of course, if education is your thing, whether you're a professor or just wanting to come here and have a great education, we have Vanderbilt University, Belmont, Tennessee State, Lipscomb University, Middle Tennessee State University, MTSU, Nashville State, Tennessee Tech, many upper levels of education here. What happens is many students come here, they love the vibe. They love Tennessee. They love the Southern vibe. They don't leave. So the good schools bring people here and the community keeps them here. Something that kind of surprised me when I asked the question, again, back in my Facebook group of newcomers to Tennessee, what is it that drew you to Tennessee? What made you start looking at Tennessee? And one response was that they wanted to live in a state capital. They wanted to be actively involved politically within their state. And I love that answer. As so many things are changing in our world, let's put it that way. So many things are changing. We need to, in my opinion, this is purely editorializing, get very active within our communities. And the best way to get active in the community is to be a part of, spend some time up on the Capitol Hill. Today and tomorrow, actually, there is several hearings going on in the House and the Senate that people can take part in talking about bills for keeping CRT out of schools and different things that I should probably not bring up here. But the point is, if you want to be active within your community, it starts from here at home. And many people have responded to me that they love the idea that we want people to be actively involved in our school boards, in things that are going on at our Capitol. To be close to the Capitol and to be able to be a part of that on a regular basis, it was key to 3 people, and I love that. They came from states that they felt had been changing very rapidly. They don't want to see those change to Tennessee. Another answer, though, was our rich history. So many people are feeling as if they're losing grasp of history, and they really love it. And to get to know your community, you've got to know the history of it. To spend some time in Franklin, where you've got Civil War battlefields, President Andrew Jackson's home, the Hermitage, so many things that are in history, that are part of American history, that are still intact here, and that you can take part in on a regular basis is something that was very interesting to people. They want to be a part of it. There are Civil War reenactments regularly. It's really fun to go to the, during Halloween, to go to some of our old cemeteries and do a walk, and you can talk with reenactments to Confederate soldiers and learn what it was like to live within that community during that time. So the history is phenomenal. We have some really good museums as well. Sports. For those who are sports-minded, we've got it. We've got the pro sports. Now, Knoxville, Tennessee has undoubtedly the most fun football games you will ever hit. And even if you're not a big UT Knoxville fan, to go to a college game up in Knoxville is something you've got to do. But here in Tennessee, in Nashville, at our capital, we have, of course, our Tennessee Titans. We have the Nashville Predators. We have soccer. We have a semi-pro baseball team. We've got many pro sports, and you know, if that's your vibe, we've got all of the pro sports basically right here in Middle Tennessee. But I gotta tell you, the most fun ever is a UT Knoxville football game, especially because we're getting pretty good. Mentioned many times, there's so many things to do. Even if you're not a big outdoors person, so many things to do. What was brought up was the museums, our Grassmere Zoo, which is really a great zoo. It's a natural habitat zoo. They do many things. It's fun. Boo at the Zoo and Easter egg hunts. Cheekwood, the music scene, live music all over town. You don't have to go down to Lower Broad if you want to and go with all of the tourists. Head on down to Lower Broad. It's a lot of fun. But that's not where Nashvillians go for the most part. Nashvillians, we've got music all over town. So become a part of my Facebook group and you'll learn about some of those things. We got the music scene, we got the ballet, we've got the symphony. The Skirmahorn Symphony Center is just beautiful, whether there's anything going on or not, you've got to go visit it. We've got beautiful parks, over 500, nature trails, greenways, all throughout the city. So it's not just one place. Centennial Park is down by Vanderbilt. Percy Warner Park is in Edwin Warner Park is several thousand acres on the west side of town. You've got golf courses all over Middle Tennessee, public and private. So anything outdoors that you might want to do, canoeing, kayaking on the Harpeth River, as I say, golf, hiking, biking, going down the Natchez Trace, which is a beautiful run that takes you all the way down to Natchez, Mississippi. A beautiful place to ride bikes. Now, one thing I have found that was surprising to people if they come from California, we do not have many bike lanes in our communities. Nashville just wasn't built that way. People weren't riding bikes a long time ago. Horses, yeah. But we don't have a lot of the bike lanes, designated lanes that many people from California are used to seeing. So just a heads up, that's the way it is. We have a great downtown. Now the funny thing about this is pretty much everyone who comes to visit Nashville wants to spend a night or two downtown. They want to see what it's like. They want to go up and down Lower Broad. They want to try some of the new restaurants, some of the fun rooftop bars. And there's a lot of things to do. It's a lot of fun. But after those 2 times, I've not found one who's been here for over 2 years who've ever really spent any more time there. So if they're truly becoming Nashvillians, because we really don't do that unless we're taking friends and tourists downtown. But it is a very lively downtown scene. One of the things that makes that so great is the fact that we have, it's the country's, I think, #1 bachelorette party. So if you love to people watch, you might want to go back. But that brings so many great tourism dollars that it's able to keep us in more affordable than we might otherwise be. Again, we weren't closed down for the most part during COVID, so those tourism dollars didn't just stop. So, you know, between the industry, there's just not a lot of vacancies, a lot of things happening, and great employment opportunities. Back to that same thing. Don't know why I brought it up again, but what you're gonna find is many of the people who work in the service industries, especially downtown or restaurants, you're gonna find that they have a really good voice. Many people come here for the music industry. They're still trying to make it in the music industry, or maybe they have a side gig that way as a waiter or waitress until they make it. Funny story, Keith Urban used to cut grass and do lawn service with one of my brokers. So you never know who you're gonna find here. Famous people might be rubbing shoulders with you at the Kroger lines. We leave people alone, and that's one thing that one of my customers who did come from Los Angeles, who is a part of the music scene, said, Nashvillians leave us alone. Nashvillians let celebrities be people. When they're not on stage, they're just people like you and me. They cut their grass, they get gas, they get groceries. They don't look perfect all the time. Nashvillians leave them alone. And that is one specific thing that this specific music industry person that you would know if I mentioned him said. And that's such a great feeling to just be able to be a normal human being in Nashville. We have a great international airport. And by the way, they've just finished a huge expansion of that airport, but it still feels intimate. It still doesn't feel ginormous like so many of the places that I've been recently. Nashville International is easy to get into, easy to get out of. It's new, it's updated, it's fun. You've got live music pretty much of the time, 24/7 in some of the bars and restaurants that are once you get inside and past security. So it's a fun place to be stuck if you happen to be stuck. But our airport is international airport and a very pleasant place to be. If you're a traveler, that makes it very easy and accessible to get to business other places or go on great vacations. As a part of that is we are a great travel hub. And that's one of the reasons that Nashville has grown so much, so quickly in the last, actually 25, 30 years. Most cities grow up on the river. We did, as that, grow up on the river. We have barges, and we have the logging industry and the steel industry, a lot of milling. That's how we grew up. But we also is where in the downtown Nashville is where Interstate 65 and 24 and 440, taking you to all areas of the country, meet up. Now we also have the 440 bypass that kind of takes you in an inner loop, so you don't have to go all the way downtown to get from 65 to 40 or to I-24. We also now have almost finished bypass 840. So from down in Williamson County, you don't even have to come into Davidson County to get that close and miss a whole lot of traffic. Easy accessibility. So these interstate systems and the bypasses make Nashville and traveling around Nashville very easy. I will add a caveat to that though. You will notice that many of our streets change names at different places around the city. So Old Hickory Boulevard can be Old Hickory Boulevard in one part of the city, and you go far up north and it becomes Bradley Parkway, or Harding Road becomes Broadway at some point, and it's just, we do change names a lot. So having your Google Maps is always going to be very, very helpful to you when you come here. One of the things you should do before you come here is reach out to me, talk to me, tell me what you want to do. If you're thinking of moving to Nashville, tell me, we'll talk about the things that your family wants. We'll talk about the things that are of interest to you, what brings you to the area. We'll learn how much you like to drive to work and from work. The best way to do this is to find out what you want. Let's talk about a pre-approval. Let's talk about some of the pricing point that you think you'll be in. I can head you to the direction of where you're most probably going to find what you want. Then when you visit here, let's spend some time there. Even if you decide to rent, if you're going to live probably in Mount Juliet because you want your kids in the best schools and you're at the 600th price point, that would be Mount Juliet in all probability. If you want to be near water, that's even best. So even if you're going to rent here, let's talk about those things. I can help put you in that area so that you really learn if you love it and then can learn the community. So many parts of this to put the puzzle together, and the first thing is a conversation, so reach out to us. I'm sure you already know is that we have a really great healthcare system. Now, HCA is a huge employer. I think it's top 4 employers of the state. The HVA Center of Hospitals. We have so many satellite or auxiliary medical parts of our community here. Again, it's a big, the word would be employer. HCA, Vanderbilt Hospitals, Summit Medical Centers. We are a great place for research and clinical trials happening here. It is phenomenal healthcare, and if you're someone who is getting toward retirement age, healthcare is important. Healthcare and being accessible to the state of the art is super important. Again, back to those parents and grandparents who are wanting to come here, finding a good place for good healthcare without having to travel to a Mayo Clinic or some of the other areas is terrific. And we have many specialties right here in Tennessee. This couple specifically came from a huge city, and they wanted their children to have ethnically diverse other children in their classrooms to kind of just understand the world. They're a piece of the world, and there's many different ideas and different opinions and different ethnicities, and to create those friendships from an early age to carry on through to life. I thought that was a really interesting perspective and something I wouldn't have thought of. So I was really glad that I asked the question, and I love that. I think that was a great point to bring up. One thing that was surprising to me that was not mentioned, and I have several people headed toward retirement, is that we are a great place to live if you are headed to retirement, because we obviously don't have income tax, state income tax. And that makes a whole lot of difference when you're not paying state and federal income taxes. We also don't have the tax on retirement income when you start drawing that money out of stocks. We don't have the hall tax any longer. So budget-friendly state as far as during retirement years go. And again, it's back to during those retirement years, if you can be near children, have great health care, have a good financial environment, place to be able to live in and live out that retirement, and also have those 4 seasons and the outdoor life to stay good and healthy. That's just a really great win-win-win for everybody. I was surprised it wasn't brought up, but I guess they just assumed that that's a given. Everybody knows about that. One thing that I did ask was there anything surprising to you when you got here to Nashville, whether it was good or bad? Was there anything that was surprising to you? Funny thing is, 6 different responses to that question came back something along the lines of how nice and friendly and authentically friendly that Nashvillians are. I think there's, you know, that Southern hospitality that people like to make fun of, and yeah, if we say bless your heart, we're really saying something totally different than bless your heart. Well, you know, that's a joke, and we really, for the most part, don't mean something nasty about it, but we are friendly. Now, it's off-putting. 2 people told me it was off-putting at first because they felt like it wasn't real. I've got to tell you, if you're standing in line at Kroger in the checkout line, I'm going to turn around to you and ask how your day's going, or if you're looking at a magazine, I'm going to say, hey, what do you think about that story? Whatever. It's not trying to be nosy. It's not trying to find out your business. It's also not trying to rob you. It's just being friendly. Everybody said they really loved that, but 2 people said it was a little bit off-putting at first because they felt like it wasn't authentic. I can promise you, it is. And if someone doesn't turn to you and speak or look at you in the face when you come in, it's a pretty good bet they're not from around these parts. Hopefully they'll change and mellow out a little bit, because it makes life a whole lot more fun when you're standing in lines. And one of the last things that I've got to say, and this is a thank you, was a couple people said, and one of the best things that they weren't aware of and how great it was going to be was meeting me, which was great. But that I was able to help so many new Nashvillians come to Nashville to learn about our city, to really love it, and to help them make connections, to become accustomed to the city, to get to know the city, and to really feel welcome and at home here really quickly. So many of my customers say they're so thankful that that happened. I'm thankful that they reached out to me, and I'll be more than happy to help you in any way that I can if you feel that we might have a good connection. So whatever that was, because that was very awkward. The point is, reach out to me, call me. If I can help you in any way, let me help you get a plan to learn whether Nashville is the right fit for you. Maybe Middle Tennessee is, maybe my partner over in Knoxville, and being over by the river over there, closer to the Smoky Mountains, and a part of that Rocky Top fun football spirit. That might be a great spot, and I can get Joan to help you over there. I've got people in Chattanooga that can, Junior can help you down in Chattanooga area. We've got people to introduce you to all areas of Tennessee. Reach out to us.